to light the facts about them was a great scientist and astronomer called Galileo Galilei. He was born in the year 1564 in the Italian town of Pisa. In the year 1608, a man called Laplace, a native of Holland, invented the telescope, the instrument with which astronomers watch the skies. The telescope makes distant objects appear to be near and magnified several times over. When Galileo heard about the invention, he became greatly interested in it. He had at this time begun to study astronomy, and he saw that the invention would be a wonderful aid to the astronomer. He set to working on making a telescope for himself and very soon succeeded in making one which was better than the one Laplace had made. Galileo's telescope was the first that was ever turned towards the stars. Looking through it, he saw 100 times as many stars he has could see with his bare eyes. He looked at the Milky Way, a broad white band of light seen across the sky at night, and found that it contained millions and millions of faint stars. He turned the telescope on him with amazement. On the moon's surface, which seems so smooth, he saw high mountains and deep valleys like those on the earth. Greatly excited by these discoveries, Galileo carried his telescope to Venice and showed it to the learned men of that city. The people of Venice crowded at his house to have a look at the looking tube. They took it to the top of high buildings and looked through it at the ships out in the sea. They saw ships 50 miles away appearing to be only 15 miles off. When the ruler of Venice was shown the instrument, he was greatly pleased with the invention and appointed Galileo professor for life at the University of Padua. The first telescope that Galileo made magnified objects 3 times their size. Later, he made one that magnified them 8 times. But he went on working on large and large ones until he made a telescope which brought objects 30 times nearer. With the aid of this telescope, he made important discoveries about the heavenly bodies. He found that the planet Jupiter and little moons that revolved around it. He found that the sun had spots on it and that the spots slowly moved across its face. He found from this that the sun, like the earth, spins round itself. Some 50 years earlier, a Polish astronomer called Copernicus had declared that the earth was a planet like other planets and that like them it revolved round the sun. Copernicus could not, however, prove this to the men of his day, and a few people paid any great attention to his ideas. Now, I want to explain the lesson. It is common knowledge today that the earth is a planet revolving around the sun. Nowadays we know that it is a common knowledge that earth is a planet revolving around the sun. Then what is meant by revolving? Revolving means move in a circle on a central axis. Move in a circle on a central axis around the sun. But there was a time not many centuries ago when even learned man believed that the earth was fixed in a space and the sun and all other heavenly bodies went round it. Now we know that the center of the universe is sun, and other planets revolve around the sun. But before many centuries ago, even learned man thought that the earth is the center of the universe and other planets, heavenly bodies will move around it. Move around it. Heavenly bodies means a planet, star, or other celestial bodies. See here, nowadays it is common knowledge that the sun is the center of the universe and other planets will move around it. And before, many centuries before, even learned man is thinking the earth is the center of the universe and other planets move around it. The man who first brought to the light the facts about them was a great scientist and astronomer called Galileo Galilei. Until a man comes to know that the sun is the center of the universe and other planets will move around it. That man was Galileo. Astronomer, he is a scientist and astronomer. Astronomer means a scientist who studies heavenly bodies. Astronomer means a scientist who studies heavenly bodies, called Galileo Galilei. He was born in the year 1564. He was born in the on the year 1564 in the Italian town of Pisa. In the year 1608, a man called Laplace, a native of Holland, invented the telescope. See here, in the year 1608. In the year 1608, a man called Laplace, native of Holland. What is meant by native? Native means a person where he born and live. That is known as native. Invented means find out something new. Invented means finding something new. The telescope. He invented the telescope, the instrument with which astronomers watch skies. Here, he invented the telescope. Laplace invented the telescope. with which astronomers watch the skies. Here, skies. Sky is the singular form and skies is the plural form of sky. Appear to be nearer and magnified several times over. Here with that telescope, distant objects. Distance object means far away in space. Far away in space appear to be nearer and magnified. Magnified means make bigger. Magnified means make bigger several times over. See here, if the object is this side and it is distant, means far away, it looks much bigger like this, and it is nearer also. Magnified means make bigger. When the Galileo heard about the invention, he became greatly interested in it. He became very greatly interested in it. He had at this time begun to study astronomy. He started to study the astronomy. Astronomy is the branch of a science which deals with the celestial bodies. And he saw that the invention would be a wonderful aid to the astronomer. Now he came to know that it is a wonderful aid. Aid means here plus point to the astronomer. He set to the work on making a telescope for himself, and very soon he succeeded in making which was better than the one Leppershey he had made. So here he got interest in that astronomy, and he started working to the telescope, and he improved the telescope which was discovered by the Leppershey. Galileo's telescope was the first that was ever turned towards the stars. Looking through it, he saw 100 times as many stars as he could see with his bare eyes. Now he invented the telescope, and he looked at the sky. He can identify 100 times more stars which he can see with his bare eyes. Bare eyes means without that instrument or naked eyes. He looked at the Milky Way, the broad white band of light seen across the sky at night, and found that it contained millions and millions of faint stars. Now he looked through that telescope, and he watched that Milky Way galaxy which we are living, that Milky Way galaxy. Our Earth is situated in the Milky Way galaxy. He found that, and here he noticed that white band of light seen across the sky at the night, and here it contained so many stars. Millions and millions of faint stars. Faint means not clear. He turned the telescope on the moon, and what he saw filled with the amazement. So here now he noticed so many stars in the Milky Way galaxy, and now he turned to the moon. Moon is natural satellite. Moon is natural satellite of the earth. He turned to the moon, and what he saw filled with amazement. Filled with amazement means great surprise. On the moon's surface, which seems so smooth, he saw high mountains and deep valleys like those on the earth. See here, why? He turned his telescope towards the moon. He gets surprised because what we are thinking, the moon is having very smooth surface, but it is not true. Here he noticed high mountains and deep valleys in this. Deep valleys in this, those are like in the earth. Greatly excited by these discoveries, Galileo carried his telescope to Venice and showed it to the learned men of that city. He get excited. Excited means feel pleased and interested. By these discoveries, Galileo carried his telescope to Venus, name of the city, and showed it to the learned men of that city. The people of Venice crowded at his house to have a look at the looking tube. See here, now he want to show that telescope to the learned people of that Venice city, and he took that one, and so many people crowded at his house. And see here what they are saying to that telescope on those days, looking tube. Why means they are looking through that one, and it is just like a tube. Here they are shown. Here they are shown. So they are saying that one as the looking tube. They took it to the top of high buildings and looked through it. See here what they done. They took that telescope or looking tube on the high buildings, and looked through it at the ships out in the sea. What they are seeing with the telescope, the ships which are in the sea. They saw ships 50 miles away appearing to be only 15 miles. See here, by watching through that, the ships which are 50 miles 50 miles away are looking only 15 miles off. So nearer they are looking. The ships really are at the 50 miles. Ships are at 50 miles away, but they are looking just 15 miles away. So they are appearing so nearer to them. When the ruler of Venice was shown the instrument, he was greatly pleased with the invention and appointed Galileo professor for life at University of Padua. See here, seeing that one, he get the ruler of the Venice city get pleased. Pleased means feeling pleasure or satisfaction, and he appointed Galileo as the professor for the University of Padua. The first telescope that Galileo made magnified object 3 times their size. See here, first At the beginning, what the telescope invented by the Galileo, magnify. Magnify means I already told you, make bigger. If the object is this size, the first time when he invented the telescope, that telescope magnifies the object three times bigger. Three times bigger. Later he made one that magnified them 8 times. After that, which is magnifies them 8 times bigger. Here, 3 times. First one makes bigger 3 times original object. Original object 3 times bigger. Now later second one 8 times bigger. First one, what he invented, makes it bigger 3 times, and second time it makes bigger 8 times, magnifies 8 times. But he went on working on larger and larger ones. See here, he is go on improving, and see here, until he made a telescope which brought the object 30 times nearer. Now it looks 30 times bigger. It goes on improving that one up to 30 times. With the aid of this telescope, he made important discoveries about the heavenly bodies. With that telescope, he discovers some heavenly bodies. He found that the planet Jupiter had little moons. I already told you, planet. What is that planet? You know that, and moons means natural satellite here, and that revolved around it. Here the planet Jupiter also have small moons which revolve around the Jupiter. He found that the sun had spots on it. He found that the sun had spots on it, and that the spots slowly moved across its face. He found from this that the sun, like the earth, spins around itself. See here, our earth also spins around its axis. In the same way, sun also spins around its axis. He found that. Some 50 years earlier, a Polish astronomer called Copernicus had declared that the earth was a planet. See here, some 50 years earlier, a Polish astronomer called Copernicus had declared that the earth was a planet like the other planets, and that like them, it revolved around the sun. Copernicus could not, however, prove this to the men of his day. He proved that, but he is not able to make it prove on those days, and few people paid any great attention to his ideas. All are not get interested in that. Some people are get interested in this one. I want to stop here explanation, and I want to write the meanings. Revolving. move in circle on a central axis. Heavenly bodies. A planet, planet, star, or other celestial bodies. Astronomer, a scientist, a scientist who studies who studies heavenly bodies. Invented, distant object, distant for in space. Magnify, magnify, make bigger, astronomy, the branch of the branch of science, the branch of science which deals with celestial bodies, objects. Faint, not clear, amazement, amazement, great surprise. Excited, feel, pleased, and interested. I hope you understood this lesson. Remaining part of this lesson, I want to continue in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.